part one of our conversation with Andy Curran of Coney Hatch. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Canada. There's some great re-releases and new releases from Coney Hatch and Andy Curran as a solo artist. His Caramel project from 1998 is now available digitally. Leisure World from 2002 as well, and his self-titled album. That was from 1991. A lot of you probably know he was the A&R person for Anthem Records, and he worked with Rush quite a bit, and a lot of other bands. And Coney Hatch have just released Live at the El Macombo. Here's Andy Curran.
When you were working, I know that you guys were on Anthem, but what led for you to actually work for Anthem?
Okay, so interestingly enough, and that's quite a good segue, because from the I Can't Quit You video and the band at that time, there was a couple stages prior to that led to me ending up at Anthem Records. And the long story short is I self-produced both of those records. I had some great help with some engineers, and a real passion of mine, John, became working in the studio. And when my two daughters came, I wanted to spend less time on the road. And it was something like, again, further to what you said, being on the road, so the sweet spot is that 1 or 2 hours on stage, driving there, doing the sound checks, in the hotels, hanging out in malls, just trying to keep yourself busy or whatever. Those are all really tough. But in this, and the more records I did, the more I thought, oh my God, I love being in the studio. I love all the trickery. I love all the technology. I love all the gear. I love working on these sounds. So I started producing other bands in my spare time, as well as my band. And I would often bring demos that I've made, 2-3 songs, into Ray Daniels, who is Rush's longtime manager, and runs Anthem Records at the time, and Peggy Ciccone, the vice president. And I would bring in these demos and go, man, you guys, you got a label. You should do something with this, man. These guys are great. And they were, and 9 times out of 10 they would pass, but they would say, oh, Andy, keep bringing stuff in. We love the fact that you're doing this. So finally, one day, John, I went in, I played something. I said, this is awesome. You guys should sign this. I really feel this young band has potential. And they were like, yeah, I don't think so, Andy. I don't know if we can do this. I said, okay, then give me my own imprint label. Just give me my own label and you guys can distribute it. And I think that led to them thinking, oh, well, maybe we should just hire Andy as the A&R guy. So the timing of me kind of winding down the band and touring coincided with Ray calling me up and going, why don't you come in and talk to me about working at Anthem? And at the same time, I had a publishing offer. So it was a real fork in the road. Do I continue to be a full-time musician and write and record and tour, or do I maybe try to wind things down a bit? So funny story, I went in to see Ray and we shook hands and he said, you're going to be the A&R guy for Anthem Records. And then as I was getting up, he goes, oh, sit back down again. Cause the other part is I'm going to groom you to be a manager. And I was like, oh no, dude, all bets are off here. I said, I have 2 kids of my own. I do not need to be a babysitter. And I certainly do not need to be a babysitter for grown men and women. And he goes, no, Andy, this is really good. You know, if you can do this, it'll round you out in your career and everything. So he convinced me to do it. And the one last funny thing I'll tell you, he said, you know, you got a family, Andy, you can't be on the road all the time. You got to, you know, and he's a real family guy too. So that really resonated with me, John. So I took the job. And I have never traveled so much as when I took the job with Anthem. I was on the road constantly with Rush and the Tea Party and Big Wreck and Stephen Page. And I went in and I said to him, hey, what gives? I thought you told me to stay home and be with my kids. And he said, well, you get free crackers and beer in the Air Canada lounge now, don't you? I said, okay, I guess that's a payoff. But that's what led me eventually there, was probably the love of being in the studio.
Hey, the video for I Can't Quit You, man, love the energy. Did the person who was filming that, who did that? Who put that together for you?
The DOP and director, well, it was a combination, but the DOP is a guy by the name of Mika Dehan. And Mika became a friend of mine because his wife was the art director over at Sony Music and said, my husband's a great video guy. You should work with him. He had worked with Our Lady Peace and Junkhouse, and he's definitely well known in sort of like the Canadian music industry. And so my pal, my dearly departed pal, Dan Gallagher, was constantly saying to me, next time you do a video, Curran, I want to be the director. I'm going to write and I'm going to do this. And he was such a fun guy. And so when
the VJ, right? Dan Gallagher, the VJ.
Yes. Yeah. He was on Much Music and the Power Hour, and he was an actor as well. So that was his directorial debut. And I said, okay, buddy, you got it. This is your baby. And that also starred Luch Kazmiri, was the guy in the bed, pouring Captain Crunch and pouring drinks all over his head and eating pizza. Now, Luch Kazmiri is a very well-known writer for, is it the show called This Hour Has 22 Minutes, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Luch is very, and worked with Dan Gallagher and Tess Pattern. And so it was one of those things, John, where I was just like, this sounds like a great idea. I'm going to have my friends produce and direct and be the director of photography. So it was a really good vibe. It was almost like having family on board. My brother Mike was taking photos behind the scenes, and they were pumping us like, it's got to be high energy. You guys got to, And so that we really wanted to capture that frenetic thing. And it was always like there's a lot of movement on it, right? But we had a lot of fun shooting that video. It was shot in Collingwood at the Mountain View Hotel, which was Dan Gallagher's mom ran the diner next door. So we would go in and eat grilled cheese sandwiches and have soup and come back in and shoot the video.
Did they do anything with when you're talking, when you're like addressing the camera, when you're frenetically moving like that, did they do anything to the frame rate, or is that really you moving like that?
I believe that there was some kind of trickery going on, but it was funny. But we started shooting the video, and both Dan and Mika said, you know what, dude, this is show business. This is a video. Don't just stop. Anytime you want to stop playing the bass, just stop playing the bass. Grab the camera, grab this, grab that. So it was very liberating for them to say, don't worry about looking and playing it, like just have fun. And I think it comes across in the video.
And for the character in the bed, put lipstick on any way you want. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going, hey, buddy, take pride in putting on lipstick.
Well, he's kind of losing his marbles near the end, right?
Yeah.
And the premise of the I Can't Quit You was this starring character, Luch Kazmiri, he can't quit himself. He was in love with himself. He was just, and that was the twist that Dan had on it. And we were such good friends. He was going, okay, Andy, now this is the scene that you're lying in bed with Luch with your arm around him. And I was like, what? And he was like, believe me, it's going to look great. And I was like, okay. And Dan could convince anybody to do anything. And actually, while you're on it, Mika, I actually worked on another one of my videos, which was the Lucy video. And he and the other guy came up with this great idea that it would be really good to pour a bucket of earthworms on my face and then have me come up slow motion on it. And I was like, really, guys, do we have to do that? And they're like, wait till you see this, Andy. It's going to be amazing. And you know what, John? It's over in a minute before you, if you blink, you miss that part. And I was like, really? We spent hours and hours and you guys had me covered in dirt and earthworms, and that's all we saw? Anyway, it's all show business, I guess, right?
We'll have more from Andy Curran coming up in the next few days. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Canada.